How fun is this?
I know there's a way to change the grid view, but I'm not worried about that. I can see you on the little tiny screen, and that's good enough. We did it. We did it. We went get with that.
Yeah, we're learning as we go, and that's the whole beauty of this dang thing. So perfect.
So we are live on TikTok every Wednesday, 7:30 Arizona time, 10:30 Eastern time. And we review a book a month. This month, we are talking about The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And I love this book.
Is this your first time reading it?
I started it before. And I don't know why I never finished it. But I haven't done the reading for this week to keep us caught up. But the thing that is consistent through all the books that we read, right, is consistency. Just consistently doing the things that we already know how to do. And that's what he points out in The Slight Edge. He's like, you already know what to do. Just do the thing.
Well, and I like the title even, like Slight Edge. We always think it has to be big, monumental, like huge, right? And it's like, it doesn't have to be. It's just that, like you said, consistency, but that one little thing every day. And it makes me think, crazy enough, I just thought of The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, another great book that we read last year, but literally the same thing. It's the compound of one straight little thing. I think of those that, I walked 10 minutes today. Well, I get on the scale, nothing changed, but 10 minutes every day over the course of 30 days can make an impact and make a difference. And so, like, I love this book. This will be my second time through it.
Okay. I love this book. And you're right, Compound Effect, it's the same thing. And this was one of the things that stood out to me the most because I think it's the most true. It says simple productive actions repeated consistently over time, or simple errors in judgment repeated consistently over time. The choice is simple. So whether we're making the slight edge positive or the slight edge negative, right? That's the thing. Like, it's a little tweak. It's not, you're right, it's not big monumental like things. It's the little things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge, and it's just and it's interesting that, I think of that quote too, like if you keep doing the same thing every day, you keep getting the same results every day, right? It becomes a huge opportunity that way. But it's just, and I just, like I said, I think we complicate things. Not that I want it, business ownership, entrepreneurship isn't necessarily easy, but it's not necessarily complicated, right? And so it's kind of like, it makes it huge that way when it comes to thinking about the little things that we can do. And just as, I've gotten a lot better at task management. And I think that that's been the key for me. But literally, like the consistent everyday things on my calendar and making them happen every day before I can check them off. Rather than, I used to get caught up in the spin. Like, I'd sit here for 20 minutes and go, well, what should I do? And then I get caught up in the scroll, right? and then so it's just like that little slight difference can make the biggest impact.
Do you think that there's a common slight edge among all entrepreneurs? Like, do you think there's a common thing that we're either all doing or all somehow missing? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's one thing that we should be doing more of that could be our slight edge.
I do. Now that you said that, showing up. That's the first thing that comes to my brain. I think that that's the most common thing that we can all do in a positive manner, no matter how we're feeling, is show up. Show up somewhere every day. It doesn't have to be the same platform because we have so many options to choose from now. It doesn't have to be even in the same way. Today I could show up joining you on your live. I could show up in saying to somebody else their post was positive and I loved it today. I don't have to show up on my own platform and be loud and obnoxious and here I am. I can show up on everybody, but I think showing up would be the small consistent thing that we can do every day in my brain.
I think I agree with that because, I mean, people can't find you. They can't connect with you unless you're showing up, right? And so even if you're not feeling like yourself, you're like, I don't want to go on video today, or I don't want to make an actual post, but showing up and commenting on somebody else's post gives you that place to like connect. And I don't know. Yeah, just showing up. I mean, I know we do virtual networking every Wednesday. I like in-person networking too, but it's the same thing. Like I know specifically, like when we're networking, right? The people who show up are the people who are always on my mind. The people that have a tendency like to be more not consistent in their showing up, they're not the first one out of my mouth for a referral, or they're not the first one that I'm thinking of to go, oh, I should connect this person with this person. So yeah, showing up, it would be huge.
Yeah, showing up. And I would even, like, if we're going to add a line onto that, show up as your best self. Because it's kind of like I could, I mean, it's pouring rain here. It would be a perfect day for sleeping in, like, da 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 da. Like, but it's like still like you made a commitment. I think of that John C. Maxwell stuff. When you make a commitment to start, you made a commitment to finish. It's not two commitments, it's only one. But I also think of that whole aspect. Like, you know what? I made a commitment to be a business owner. So no matter how tempting this is or how tempting that is, I need to show up because that's my commitment to run my business and to be part of my, like, to own my business.
Well, yeah, and like I had a late night, right? But my commitment to show up this morning at 6 a.m. for networking, to show up for the TikTok live, to show up for my clients that I have later today. True, I bumped something yesterday, but yeah, the commitment, you made the commitment to show up, and I think that goes a long way. I think showing up probably is one of the big slight edges that we can, right, that we can really just implement. I know for me, typically in business is how many touches I have. So how many cards I send, right? How many calls I make, even how many texts I make. Sometimes I don't want to call people, but I'll text them. And that I know that the consistency of doing things like that is how, but it goes back to what you just said, showing up. So when people receive a text from me, they don't have to respond, but I showed up. I was back in front of them,
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's like showing up for your business, showing up for yourself, right? And I used to word it that it was always about others, but it's not. Like in this case, it's showing up for ourselves. One of my favorite stories about Jeff Olson, who's the author of this book. Sandy Latour shared this, I can't even tell you, with us maybe 10, 15 years ago now. But Jeff Olson is, we always talk about 5-year goals and 5-year planning, and it's hard to do, dang it. I can't do it. I can't tell you where I'll be 5 years from now. Hopefully I'll be on the beach in Mexico, for Pete's sakes. But that being said, they always talk about 5 years from now. Picture your birthday 5 years from now. So 5 years from now, I'll be turning 64. And so it always says, like, picture on your birthday where you're celebrating, who you're celebrating with, what's parked in the driveway, what you're surrounded with, how your business is automated and running without you while you take a week off for your birthday. And Jeff Olson is, that's where I know him from, is from Sandy Latour sharing this analogy on how he helped everybody, because then you can reverse engineer it, as Jamie Bishop used to say, reverse engineer it and back it up and make it happen in goals and being applicable to our businesses and stuff like that. But this book has been this book would be probably number 3 or 4 in my top 5, because there's 2 ahead of it for sure in my mind. But this book is a powerful book for giving us just that little bit of a push to just stand out a little bit more.
Well, and he even references the compound effect in here. So like, to me, that speaks volumes to that book. But I think reverse engineering whatever your goal is, whatever your plan is, like I'm really good at that. And it's funny, I heard on TikTok just the other day, this mom, she's like, okay, we have to be there at 7:30. So I have to leave at 7. So I have to get the kids up at this time. So I have to like do this. Then I have to like, and I was like, and she called, what did she call it? She said she was a time subtraction expert or something. It was a funny TikTok, but I was like, but if more people understood that, right? I want to make $1,000 this month. So therefore I need to make this much per week. So therefore it's this much per day. Well, now I know my average per client is X. So I need to see this many. So yeah. And that could be your slight edge, just figuring out we all know I'm a tracking nerd. I like to track stuff. And so reverse engineering things to me works, right? I never thought about it with that wording, but, that could be your slight edge, just figuring out your plan, or maybe just having a damn plan. Some people don't even have a plan. They go to attack their day and they don't have a plan. I'm like, and so you get to the end of your day, right? And you're like, what did you accomplish? And for me, okay, yesterday when you said it when we were texting, pivot, right? My whole day changed. but I can look at my plan for yesterday and I wrote on there, this caused the change. And now I don't have guilt over the things that didn't get done because I allowed the change. I allowed the pivot. And so maybe the slight edge is just having that plan.
Yeah, huge. Well, and I also think when it comes to what you just said too, it's kind of like, am I running my business or is my business running me? Comes to my brain. Number one. And the other thing that came to mind on that whole aspect was there's such a balance between living in the moment and being present and also planning for the next moment. And I think that our world really like shifted and started to speak differently of the, because a lot of people's plans were thrown across the board, with some of the world climate changes and stuff like that. But it's like that whole, like, are you planning, for the best day, or like, are you being more reactive than proactive? Like, there's such a balance there when it comes to that.
Well, and for me, when I have a plan, I feel like I have more flexibility. And I know, like, my husband does not understand that thought at all. And there are people who do not understand that thought. When I have a plan, I have more flexibility. Because yesterday when I got asked to do something that was not on my plan, I could go through my plan and decide whether I had room to do that or not do that, how it would affect me today, how it would affect me later this week. And so for me, when there's a plan, and that probably, honest to God, that's probably the slight edge that I implemented so long ago, was my plan, because then I just have more flexibility.
Yeah. Well, I also think that sometimes it's important to get up a half hour earlier, for Pete's sake. Push along. You and I have had messages back and forth. I'm going to push for another hour, rather than tapping out and stuff. But then that to me, that comes as part of entrepreneurship and business ownership. Like, own your business. I think and I think, all those, I don't want to say the younger generation and say that, but those are, I'm going to own my own business. You know what? Like, and the dream of, I'm going to be on the golf course 6 days a week. I'm going to be snacking at this place. And it's true. Is it possible? 100%. But dang it, it's not the business journey. It's not the business journey I've experienced in all the years I've been an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Well, I know that I've been an entrepreneur for over 15 years. And it wasn't until a couple years ago that I decided to take this little part-time thing to help somebody, but it actually helped me. And the way it helped me was that somebody else could not abuse my time, right? Because now the other person didn't see my time as, oh, she has all week. She can help me 2 or 3 times a week. And it was killing my days. But when I had to say, okay, if you need my assistance, I'll give you my Thursday. And then it helped me align so many other things. And so I think sometimes as an entrepreneur, you can get in the flexibility and the freedom side of it. But when you get put back in, let's say, the structured work environment, it makes you think. The other thing that was interesting to me was when I got a paycheck, I was like, dang, I can earn more than that in an hour. So it's eye-opening. And it's entrepreneurship is not for the weak, that's for sure. But we do it because I do it because I want the flexibility and I want the freedom. And I want to be able to say, yes, I'm taking a week off. And I know that I have some things automated that are going to roll me through that week.
Yeah. And that being said, I want to be very careful too, because I so push back against those, you got to grind. It's hard work, It's work. You don't have to label it as hard. It's work. Right. And it brings, can bring a lot of satisfaction, a lot of joy. It can bring a lot of feeling of accomplishment. It can be prideful. Like, there's so many positives to it. And so I think that sometimes we tend to label the journey to the derogatory, in my opinion. And I dang it, I hate that aspect of it. It's like, what, like and I don't always necessarily, I don't have an end game. I'll be totally transparent with it. I don't have an end game. But I have a game for today. And so, like, it's literally, I think that makes a big difference too. I know, Joette, are you reading this book? Are you talking? Oh,
yes. Yes, I am, but I haven't read very much of it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I've read like a few chapters. It's keeping me interested, but because, I'm getting home later because I'm spending time at the farm, it isn't in my little time frame to sit and read it, but it is at least holding my attention.
Mhm.
And I mean, I've been in business for 35 years. I know, like I know what to do, but I find, that they're interesting, and just especially when it kind of confirms, some of the things I've been doing for years,
Yeah.
right?
Sandy Latour, your ears must have been burning because dang it, I was just talking about you. And so it's fun to see you log in at
Oh,
7:45 Arizona time. Dang it. But yes, I absolutely just shared a story that I had heard from you 15 something, 12, 15 years ago for Pete's sake. So it's fun watching you come on with us. I miss you too, dang it. Go for it, Susie. Talk, wrap us up.
okay, so join us next week, 7:30 Arizona time, 10:30 Eastern time. I don't know what other time zone, so you have to figure that out. But Cheryl laughs. I only know 2 time zones. But we're reviewing this book here, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And we'd love to have you join us live. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this book, whether you're reading it now, whether you have read it. Every Wednesday, our goal is to have entrepreneurial conversations and discussions and just help each other grow and network and figure out what our slight edge is, right? So each month we do a book a month, and this month it's this one here. So if you guys want to be on board, get this book.
Yep. Yay for us. We navigated TikTok
Yay.
live. So good for
I
you,
know,
Susie.
and TikTok finally let me do the thing.
Yeah, let you do. It's funny, for a quick little side note, those that are watching, the Canadian side of TikTok's like, oh, girlfriend, you can go do whatever you want to do on this side of the border. But those on the US side of the border, Susie had to jump some hoops to be able to go live and stuff. And so it's interesting, the difference between the countries and different apps and stuff. And so, but yeah, we totally did.
I had to prove my age. I had to prove that I really wanted to go TikTok live. Like, I had to do 30 minutes, 3 days in a row. Like, it was insane. So if you caught any of my lives before, I'm sorry. I was just jumping hoops.
There you go. Perfect. Awesome. See you all next week.
All right, bye.
Perfect. Bye.